Hello everyone. Good morning, afternoon, evening. Dear authors and invited guests, welcome to technical session 4C. Myself Ashutosh Goel. This session will be moderated by me. On behalf of Global Knowledge Research Foundation and GR Scholastic, it is my great pleasure to welcome you all to the International Conference on Technological Intelligence and Business Strategies, TIBS 2026, Manila, Philippines. This conference is being organized in a hybrid mode. The physical event was held yesterday in Manila, Philippines, and the virtual event is being held through Zoom from 22nd to 23rd to 24th June 2026. I hope you will enjoy the knowledgeable and interactive sessions throughout the day. In this session, we have 8 presentations, and each presenter will be given 12 minutes for the presentation and 3 minutes for question and answers. On 10 minutes, I will raise a gentle reminder. There's another request to all the participants that you all stay connected with us till the closing remarks. If you have any query or update, then you can write it to me in the chat box. Just before we start the session, I would like to introduce you all to the chairs for the session. Professor Rowena Osier Sibayan and Dr. Bhumi Gupta. Professor Rowena Osier Sibayan is an assistant professor at Gulf College with over 27 years of experience in academia spanning teaching, research, and academic administration. She serves as a reviewer for the Research Council and is a certified entrepreneurship educator in Oman. Her research and professional interests include education technologies, social media, technopreneurship, and e-commerce, with a focus on leveraging digital innovations to enhance learning, entrepreneurship, and business development. Thank you so much for joining, ma'am. I request you to kindly say a few words of encouragement to our participants.
Thank you. Thank you very much for the nice introduction, Mr. Duyal. And I am very happy to be part of the session. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Now moving on to our next chair, Dr. Bhumi Gupta. Dr. Bhumi Gupta is an associate professor and head of department with expertise in civil engineering, computer engineering, and transportation engineering. Her specialized skills include transportation planning, disaster management, and computer communication. Dr. Gupta is dedicated to advancing research and education in this interdisciplinary field. Thank you for joining us today, ma'am. Now, without further ado, let's start with the presenters. First, I would like to call upon Sir Shivam Kumar to present his paper on the title Domain Agnostic KG RAG, a lightweight framework with LLM-driven ingestion and temporal semantic capabilities. Do we have you here with us, sir?
Okay, so good afternoon, everyone, and thank you, Asutosh, for the introduction. My name is Shivam Kumar, and this is the joint project with Professor Dinesh Kumar Saini of Manipal University, Jaipur. Today, I'll be presenting our paper Domain Agnostic KG RAG, a lightweight framework for building knowledge graph for any domain with LLM-driven ingestion and temporal semantic capabilities. So now, why do we build it? If you have worked with the knowledge graph, you should know that there are three major pain points researchers face today. First is the domain engineering overhead. Most of the existing KZ framework require considerable customization for each new domain, whether it's law, medical, or education. Each time you switch to no domain, you rebuild the system from the scratch. Second would be the temporal limitation. Very few KG systems natively support temporal reasoning. And third would be the semantic gaps. Traditional keyword-based retrieval fails to capture semantic relations in context-sensitive queries. Now, let me outline of what we have built, what is our conclusion. First, the schema-driven architecture. This is where you define your domain using a simple JSON file. And you don't need to change code for any new domains. You just need to add your own domain JSON file. Second is the temporal reasoning. We made native functions like get events before, get events after, and temporal sequence detection for time-related queries. Third is the semantic analytics using sentence transformer for hybrid graph and vector retrieval. Fourth is the multi-domain validation. We tested our framework on three benchmarks: a biomedical, a cross-domain, and a multi-hop question answering platform dataset. Now, this is the high-level architecture of the generic KZ. At the top, there is declarative JSON schema. Uh, this is the topmost layer of our framework. This decides the entity types, relationship rule, and the required properties to be added. Then the schema fits into the multi-level validation pipeline, which has three layers. Layer 1 for a schema validation, layer 2 for domain rules, and layer 3 for semantic with LLM. Uh, Before adding any entities and or relationship to the graph, they all must pass through these three layers. Now, below this pipeline, we have three core modules called temporal reasoner, which handles time-related queries, graph engine with big O of one storage, and retrieval using adjacency list. Now, the hybrid retriever, which combines graph traversal and semantic search. The key insight here is if you want to move on from one domain to another domain, you just have to change the topmost layer JSON schema and below all the layers remain same. Means only the JSON file change and all the codes remains exactly same. Now, let me explain the schema-driven design in more detail. This slide shows why our approach is fundamentally different from traditional system. On the left, systems, you see the traditional approach where systems like medical KZ, legal KZ, and a story KZ each require a separate code base with hard-coded domain logic. If you want to add a new domain, you have to write new code, which is expensive and time consuming. On the right hand side, there is our generic KZ approach, where but it works with any domain. You just load a different like medical JSON, legal JSON, and the same code handle everything. Now here is the schema S, which is formally defined as a tuple of entity types, relation types, required properties, and relationship constraint. For example, in the medical domain, the schema says a disease entity must have a name property and supports sorry supports temporal attributes, and that a traits relationship can only go from a drug to a disease. All of this is declarative, so absolutely no programming is required. However, just having a schema is not enough. So this is our most important part, three-layer validation pipeline. The first is the layer one schema validation. This is local and require a runtime of less than 1 millisecond. It's check the entity type error, required properties, and the property type adherence. Second is the domain rule validation. It's also local and require less than 1 millisecond for runtime. This is where you define your domain specific rules, such as drug dosage limits or the antibiotics for allergies if any patients have allergy. Third layer is the semantic validation. This is the most interesting part of the three-layer validation pipeline. Here we use a LLM, specifically Llama 3.18b model via graph for checking logical consistency. For example, if the knowledge graph have a relationship called allergic to penicillin, and if another relationship is trying to add prescribed penicillin, then it will catch that error. Now this require a runtime of 300 to 800 milliseconds. The cascading fail fast here is that L1 and L2 comes first and reject unwanted items, preventing the LLM API call. This saves the computational significant amount of computational cost. Now uh, uh, let me cover this temporal reasoning hybrid retrieval. Our framework has two additional built-in capabilities. One on the left is the temporal reasoning, where we provide native temporal query methods like get events before, get events after, and find temporal sequence. These are highly useful for questions like finding what systems occurred after starting a medication. And all temporal attributes are validated strictly at layer one through the schema. On the right hand is hybrid retrieval, where our system combines graph retrieval for structured queries with semantic search using sentence transformers for natural language queries. The hybrid scoring formula combines semantic similarity with graph proximity, where lambda is 0.6, prioritizing the semantic similarity while keeping the structured knowledge graph proximity. Now, our first benchmark is BC5 CDA. which is a biomedical corpus for a chemical and disease entity extraction. We processed 100 documents with 787 gold entities in a purely zero-shot configuration. The headline result is that we achieved 100% precision, meaning every single entity was found in the gold entities. Our recall is 78.3% and F1 score of 87.92%. Comparing with the other fine-tuned model like BioWet, which is a domain-specific fine-tuned model, got a F1 score of 90%. PubMed word model, which is domain-specific pre-trained model, got F1 score of 91%, whereas our generic KZ is a zero-shot approach, got F1 score of 88%. To test our domain agnostic claim, we ran more evaluation. On the left is wave a data set containing a structured triplet spanning 15 completely different domains like airports, astronauts, buildings, and structure. We processed 100 records and got an entity precision of 95.9% and entity F1 of 85.6%. This is extremely close to our biomedical performance despite being entirely different domains. This confirms that a schema-driven approach generalizes exceptionally well. We got a lower score on triple F1, but this is because of the predicate vocabulary mismatch of the gold entities. On the right hand, there is a hotpot QA. It's a multi-hop question answering. We processed 5,722 entities from the Wikipedia and tested it on 50 questions and got a 58% of overall accuracy with a 71.4% in comparison questions with two hop retrieval. Sorry. So now let's go to air analysis and key insights. The major part, 45% is the boundary ambiguity. There are there are words that are too vague to be added as entity into the graph. 28% of the parts contributed to abbreviation which were not expanded, so they were not added to graphs. 27% were the complex non-phrases. Now let's come to limitations and future work. We want to be fully transparent about our limitation. Currently, unstructured data sources like social media still needs domain expert to develop the appropriate JSON schema. Additionally, the temporal engine is limited to absolute linear timelines. It can't handle cyclic pattern and fuzzy timestamps. And as we discussed, triple level F1 limited by predicate vocabulary mismatch. For the future roadmap, we want to expand schema definitions for better relation extraction and graph databases like Neo4j integration for scaling to millions of entities and introduce cyclic patterns and fuzzy timestamps. To summarize, our generic KZ achieves competitive score across 3 different domains, biomedical, wave energy, and hotpot QA with zero code changes in domain specific area. Thank you.
Right. So your framework emphasizes schema-driven validation and temporal knowledge integration. How do you envision generic KG scaling to domains with highly dynamic schema like social media or a real-time financial data where consistency is harder to enforce?
That's why I discussed it's our limitation to add the unstructured domains like social media to add in the graphs. That's our limitations.
So it was not yet prepared. Anyway, so overall, the modular design and multi-level level validation pipeline are actually really good, particularly the way the temporal attributes are integrated. This makes your research project generic KG stand out as a practical steps toward reducing hallucination in LLM-based system. Okay? But such analysis would strengthen the case for generic KG adaptability and highlights its potential as a cross-domain solution where the schema consistency is inherently fluid. But overall, it's good. Thank you for sharing
Thank,
your research.
thank you, and thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am. Now, moving on to our next presenter, I would like to call upon Sir Thomas Hay to present his paper on the title Efficient. Just a second. I hope my screen is visible. Yes. Now I'd like to call upon Sir Thomas Hay to present his paper on the title Efficient Gated Recurrent Unit Architectures for Univariate Time Series Forecasting, a benchmark analysis using the Libra framework. Do we have you here with us, sir?
Yes, thank you very much. Can you see my slides?
No, sir. Your screen is not visible yet.
Yeah, I did not understand. Can
It's
you
visible.
see them?
Yes, sir. It's visible
I
now.
can see from my end.
Okay. Thank you very much. Okay, so this is a common work with two colleagues. So the first one is a student in our study program, Abraham Gesehai, who has mainly done the study, which was supervised by my colleague Rolf Dornberger and myself in the context of a module called Applied Computational Intelligence, which we teach every year in the study program. Okay, so let me first introduce and motivate the considered problem a bit. So it deals with time series forecasting. And this is a highly practical problem which occurs in many area business-related fields and other areas. And during recent years, a lot of new methods have been developed and applied successfully in that field, especially approaches from the area of deep learning. So for the current study, we consider a setup to evaluate such approaches based on the evaluation of univariate macroeconomic time series data and making use of a generally established benchmarking suite for time series forecasting called Libra. So in the framework of the current studies, we are looking at 12 different types of recurrent neural networks. I will show them a bit later in more detail. And for the starting point or for the baseline of that, we consider a long short-term memory model. And for the newer model types, we consider mainly different variants or architectures based on gated recurrent units. So to be more specific, for the current study, we evaluated 100 time series from the Libra collection in the area of economics. So that's mainly a macroeconomic time series over a span from 2000 to 2023, and that's mostly quarterly data, as macroeconomic time series usually do not change that quickly as maybe in other areas. So the goal was to predict the next period, so what is called a one-step ahead forecast, with making use of a lagged input window. So basically, we use a number of previous period data in order to predict the next time series evaluation. So for the setup, we mostly considered the last 10 time series data due to the limited length of the considered time series. So as I mentioned, we are doing an evaluation in the Libra benchmarking framework. So on the one hand, that framework includes a large number of different time series which can be evaluated for benchmarking purposes, but it also suggests a specific setup on how the benchmarking should be done. So we mostly oriented to that benchmark to make our results also comparable with other results based on the same benchmark. So in particular, regarding evaluation criteria, a number of different have been considered. So as the most important one, it was the absolute scaled error, and another measure called symmetric mean absolute percentage error, which has got the advantage to be scale invariant. We also considered standard deviation and some measures which consider the direction of forecast error, so whether it's over or under forecasted. And as another main evaluation criterion, we looked at the computational cost, so the runtime on a computer, and due to differences in computing power, we looked in particular at the standardized time measurement by comparing it to the runtime of a simple approach under the same computation requirement. So the same machine is being used for that. Let's have a short look into the considered architecture. So we focus on advanced topologies of neural network, which are all based on recurrent neural network as a standard idea. So we consider architectures which have got feedback loops in their architecture to use earlier input besides the current input. So the general idea of the long short-term memory network is that we use previous states in order to adapt the processing of the current information. So on the one hand, we have got the current information which goes into that. We have got a previous hidden state and a previous cell state. And basically, there are three steps of processing. First is a kind of forgetting step. Then we have got a step which brings together the current input with a previous input after the first step, and then a calculation for the output. Let's have a look at the gated recurrent unit, the GRU approach, which we are looking at. So it's basically quite similar to general LSTM topologies, but simplifies that a little bit. So instead of 3 gates, it only uses 2 memory states and combines them by using 2 gates into the final result then. So it's a bit of simplification, and usually we assume that with a smaller number of parameters, this approach can also be applied in a faster way. But nevertheless, that does not tell us much about the quality of the results. Okay, so now let's have a look at the particular models being considered in our study. So as I mentioned already, we use an LSTM architecture as a kind of baseline. That's more or less a standard size, which was also used in earlier studies on which our approach is based. We used a GRU architecture with basically the same size. So here, that's a different levels in the network, the different layers, and the number indicates the number of neurons in that. Then we used some variants of that regarding size, a larger GRU and a smaller GRU, and then some variants where the basic processing and architecture has been changed a little bit. So this is an approach which makes use of residual information, which should in particular simplify the learning process. Then a hybrid approach, a mixture between GRU and LSTM, where the LSTM is used for the decoding layers. Then another approach which uses more layers, here denoted as deep GRU. Another one which is also a bit deeper than the basic approach, but also in particular making use of more neurons. And then some further variants or enhancements of the basic processing. Let me mention this one in particular, the bidirectional architecture, which makes use in the processing not only of past data, but also on future data. So basically data is processed in both time directions, which is often an advantage towards the output. Then we have got another approach making use of an attention layer, and the final architecture is a kind of mixture between a convolutional neural network and our considered architecture type. So these 12 models have been investigated in our study. Besides the differences in the model, we try to keep everything else as much identical as possible. So we use the same optimizer for specifying the weights, same kind of loss function regularization approaches, the approach to processing the data regarding splitting, early stopping conditions, and other things have been used identically for the setup of the different algorithms, of the different models in the comparison with the library data. Let's have a brief look at the architecture. So more or less we used a quite powerful consumer type computer for that, which has got a GPU also, but we did not actually use that GPU in order to have a similar setup as in most evaluations of that which can be found in the literature. So in particular for the learning process with a neural network, using the GPU could bring a big advantage, but here purposefully in order to have a most comparable output for the different types of models, we only made use of the standard processing with the CPU. And besides that, software was based on R and TensorFlow for the neural networks. Let's have a look directly at the results. So here we see for the 12 considered architectures the different evaluation criteria. So on the one hand, we find some information about the runtime. So we see for the basic approach, it's the smallest one, but for let's say architectures with a similar size, like the simple GRU, it's quite comparable. And those where we have a quite long runtime, that is mostly like here in the setup with wide and deep contributed to the larger number of neurons in that architecture. Here we find some information about the accuracy using the two different types of measures, which I have shown before. So they are all not too much different. So when we actually look here at the best results, we see that this has been obtained here by the GRU with a bidirectional architecture. So that has obviously some advantage compared to the other architecture, although it is not very large. And here also that's mainly just for completeness, some look into the different types of errors regarding over and under forecasting, which I don't want to consider now in detail. Let's compare that to some traditional architecture. So we will see the results are much better for most of the smaller and established architectures. So here we have got some traditional forecasting approaches in comparison, and for the as naive one, we see the runtime is much smaller. Actually, if we go back to here, so this measure of runtime was indeed being
So just a
shown
gentle
here.
reminder. So just
Yeah.
a gentle reminder that you have crossed the 10-minute mark. You may conclude your presentation in the next 2 minutes.
Okay, yeah, sure. Thank you. Okay. So runtime is often much better here for the simple approaches as we see over here, but also results in terms of accuracy are for many of them much better. And well, that is somehow a negative effect on the considered architecture. But one of the main reasons is probably the type of data which are being considered. The quarterly macroeconomic data set have some features which cannot be exploited very well by the neural network architecture, which is probably much more useful for shorter term time series, and in particular typical patterns like seasonality components are not well reflected in the considered model architectures. Okay, let me come to my conclusion. So among the 12 architectures which we have considered in the study, the bidirectional approach achieved the best results in terms of accuracy. And well, one of the considered aspects of the methods being analyzed here is that we have a quite significant degradation of performance compared to more simple approaches, which has probably got to do with the nature of time series and the rather short dynamic lag, which spanned only 10 periods. So we assume that is one of the major reasons for the rather poor performance, which could be better with other types of time series with higher number of data and shorter time differences between them. So therefore, we would suggest to consider different lag rules in future studies. Besides that, more modeled and hybrid approaches could be analyzed, including hybrid approaches with traditional prediction methods. Could be considered, like using further data and making use of a kind of cross time series training for obtaining better results. And yeah, besides that, in general, more extensive studies, including studies with other types of time series, would be useful for future work, especially for evaluating those models. So that's all from my side. Thanks for your attention, and I'm happy to answer questions if there are any.
Hi, Mr. Thomas. Yeah. So thank you for sharing the result of your research paper. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Yeah. Your results show that classical statistical methods outperform all RRN variants, right, by a wide margin.
Yes.
Given that, how do you see the role of neural architectures evolving in macro forecasting as they best position as complementary tools for a specific scenario? Or do you have any methodological advances that would close the gap?
Yeah, we had some other study earlier making use of different types of RNN neural networks and also based on the same library environment, but also with making use of other time series, which obtained much better results. So I think in general, advanced neural architecture are a good approach for time series analysis. Maybe in the best way to combine it with other more traditional approaches. So that has not yet been fully investigated.
All right, thank you very much. But overall, the benchmarking is very insightful, especially the finding the architectural complexity. So it adds a little bit benefit over the GRU baseline. So thank you for sharing your research, and we hope for the future one, for the development.
Thank you very
Thank you,
much.
sir.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, hello, Thomas. Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am, you're audible.
Yeah. Okay. Actually, the results are insightful. I saw that when it is performed on the local machine or local server, the results are fruitful. And but I wanted to know whether you have not tried it over the GPUs or why not on cloud server? I mean, what was the limitation which was restricting it to be evaluated over there?
Sorry. So that was mainly for the reason of having comparable runtimes for the evaluate for the benchmarking purpose. So of course, if we would do it on a more professional level, we can do it in a cloud environment, or if we have got a sufficiently powerful local machine, that could also be used. So in our case, we had a GPU which could have been used, but intentionally did not use that to have as much as comparable results as possible.
I would like to call upon Sir Alfito Arthur Ramshaw to present his paper on the title Enhancing Transparency and Accountability in E-Procurement Using Big Data Analytics and Information Processing Capabilities. Do we have you here with us, sir?
Okay, thank you for the opportunity. Uh, good afternoon, everyone. Distinguished moderator, honorable committee member of International Conference on Technological Intelligence and Business Strategies 2026. Respected audience and fellow participant, my name is Alvito Atharayansyah from Telkom University, Bandung, Indonesia. Today, I will present my research title, Enhancing Transparency and Accountability in E-Procurement Using Big Data Analytics and Information Processing Capabilities. This study examines the role of big data analytics and information processing capability in strengthening transparency and accountability within a procurement environment and their subsequent impact on procurement performance. To provide an overview of today's presentation, I will begin with the research background and research gap. Next, I will discuss the relevant literature and proposed research framework. Followed by the methodology, I will then present the empirical findings and their implications. Finally, I will conclude with the key contribution of this study and recommendation for future research. This slide introduces the background. Procurement plays a currency and performance. However, procurement activities continue to face challenges related to transparency, accountability, and corruption risk. To address these issues, many organizations have adopted a procurement system. One example is PT PLN Indonesia Power, which implemented a procurement in 2016. Although the system has improved procurement processes, several challenges still remain, including difficulties in monitoring, documentation management, and information integration. These challenges indicate that technology implementation alone may not be sufficient to strengthen procurement governance. Additional organizational capabilities are required to maximize the benefit of digital procurement system. The slide highlight the research gap and improve procurement performance. Similarly, big data analytic has been recognized as an important capability for transforming large volume of procurement data into valuable insight. Information processing capability has also been found to improve organizational decision making. However, most prior studies have examined this variable separately. There is still a limited understanding regarding how these capabilities interact to improve transparency and accountability, particularly in state-owned enterprise. Therefore, the study develops an integrated framework that combines these three capabilities within a single research model. This slide shows the literature review. The study is based on information processing theory. According to this theory, organizational performance improve when information processing capabilities match organizational information requirements. In our framework, procurement serves as a source of procurement data. Big data analytics transform this data into actionable insight. Information processing capability enables organization to effectively process and utilize this insight. Together, these capabilities are expected to improve transparency, accountability, and procurement performance. And this slide shows the methodology. Our research model consists of 5 major hypotheses. First, procurement coordination and transaction application positively influence big data analytics capability. Second, big data analytics positively affect transparency and accountability. Third, transparency and accountability improve procurement performance. Fourth, big data analytics act as a mediating variable. Finally, information processing capability serves as a moderating variable that strengthens the relationship between e-procurement and big data analytics. The study employ a quantitative research design. Data were collected from employees involved in procurement activities at PTPL Indonesia Power through an online questionnaire. A 5-point Likert scale was used to measure our construct. To test the proposed model, we applied partial least squares structural equation modeling using SmartPLS 4.0 with a bootstrapping procedure of 5,000 resample. Before testing the hypothesis, we evaluate the measurement model. The, the result indicate that a loading factor exceeded 0.70 and all F values exceeded 0.50. Furthermore, Cronbach alpha and composite reliability values were above the recommended threshold of 0.70. These findings confirm that the measurement model is both valid and reliable. Next, using the Fornell-Lakers criterion, construct successfully assess discriminant validity. This indicates that each variable measure and distinct concept and the measurement model is suitable for structural model evaluation. After validating the measurement model, we evaluate the structural model using PLSM. The results show that a relationship in the model are positive and statistically significant. This finding confirmed that e-procurement capabilities, big data analytics, and information processing capability contribute to improving transparency and accountability and procurement performance. The hypothesis testing result showed that all proposed hypotheses were supported. E-procurement coordination and e-procurement transaction significantly influence big data analytics. In addition, big data analytics has the strongest effect on transparency and accountability with a of 0.568. Transparency and accountability also procurement performance. These findings highlight the critical role of big data as the key mechanism linking procurement implementation to improve governance and procurement. This slight summary effect identified in the study for the direct effect, procurement coordination and procurement transactions analytics then enhance transparency and accountability, which subsequently improves. Big data analytics act as a mediator between a procurement and governance outcomes, while information processing capability strengthen the impact of procurement on big data analytics. These findings demonstrate the importance of combining digital procurement system with analytical and information processing capabilities. Next, the study provides both theoretical and managerial application. From a theoretical perspective, the findings extend information processing theory by demonstrating the combined role of procurement, big data analytics, and information processing capability in improving procurement governance. From a managerial perspective, organizations should strengthen their analytical and information processing capabilities to maximize the benefit of a procurement system. For future research, this framework can be tested in different industry and expanded by incorporating factors such as digital readiness, cybersecurity, organizational culture, and artificial intelligence. In conclusion, uh, the findings demonstrate that procurement coordination and procurement transaction significantly enhance big data analytics capability. Big data analytics plays a central role in improving transparency and accountability, which subsequently contribute to both financial and non-financial procurement performance. Furthermore, big data analytics serves as a key mediating mechanism while information processing capability strengthens the effectiveness of a procurement system. Overall, the integration of procurement, big data analytics, and information processing capability is essential for improving procurement governance and organizational performance. This brings me to the final slide that conclude my presentation on enhancing transparency and accountability in procurement using big data analytics and information processing capabilities. I would like to thank the moderator, the Committee of TIBS 2020. Thank you very much.
Yeah, Alfito. Hello.
Yes, ma'am, you're on.
Yes.
Yeah. The presentation was good. You have covered, I think, every point on e-procurement. Big data analytics has been covered. I think there's still a scope of adding some features from cybersecurity, some legal practices, some security standards into it. Probably kind of like where blockchain standards are covered. You could have added something. Have you added that?
Okay.
Were you able to add any cyber physical ethical standards or cybersecurity practices and mechanisms into it? Because it's all e-procurement and high-level data analytics. Have you added any of that security procedure?
Thank you very much for the valuable suggestion. Ma'am, in this case study, we have not specifically incorporated cybersecurity standard, medical security practice, or blockchain-based standard as separate variable in the research model. The main focus of this study is on how procurement application, big data analytics, and information and accountability and procurement performance. However, I fully agree that cybersecurity and blockchain-related standards are highly relevant, especially because the procurement system handles sensitive procurement data audit trails. In this study, those aspects are indirectly related to transparency and accountability, but they have not yet been measured explicitly. So this becomes an important recommendation for future research. Future studies can extend this model by aiding cybersecurity readiness, data protection standard, blockchain-based traceability, or digital trust mechanism. This additional variable could provide a more comprehensive understanding of how digital procurement system can become not only traceable and resistant to data manipulation.
Yes, okay, got it. Thank you so much. Best of luck.
Do we have any other
Thank you, ma'am.
questions?
Mr. Alfito, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am, your voice is audible.
Okay. So
Yes.
yeah, actually the study provides a good foundation, by linking that analytical capabilities with governance outcome. So maybe as my colleague suggestion to put the security issue, you could also be strengthen the contribution on how or explore the comparative insight across the different state-owned enterprises or industry. And this scalability and cross-context applicability would make the practical implications even more impactful. So it was a nice, it was a good foundation, your research, about your research. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am. Now I would like to move to the next presenter. Next, I would like to call upon Sir Ishwan Masnadi to present his paper on the title, How Smart Lighting Shapes Green Hotel Image and Revisit Intention. Do we have you here with us, sir?
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. I would like to express my appreciation to the organizing committee of TIBS 2026 for this opportunity. My name is Iqbal Masnadi from Hotel Management Binus University, Jakarta, Indonesia. I'm presenting this research on behalf of my co-author, Reza Pahlevi and Alda Nurmalinda. Today, I will present our study entitled How Smart Lighting Shape Green Hotel Image and Revisit Intention. Okay, let me begin by explaining the background and motivation behind this research. Before discussing the study itself, let me first explain the background behind this research. Hotel today, okay. Hotel today face growing pressure to adopt sustainable practice. At the same time, guests are becoming more environmentally aware when choosing accommodation. A smart lighting system offers several advantages, including energy efficiency, reduce operational costs, and improve cost comfort. Because of these benefits, smart lighting is increasingly being viewed as practical sustainability solution. Okay. Research gap. Previous study have extensively examined technology adaptation and green hotel practices. However, three important gaps remain. First, research, especially focusing on smart lighting in hospitality setting, is still limited. Second, earlier study often examined direct relationship between technology and guest behavior. Third, the mediating role of green hotel image has received relatively little attention. Therefore, our study investigate whether smart lighting influence revisit intention indirectly through the formation of positive green hotel image. Based on this gap, we formulate the following research objective. This study aims to examine four key relationships. First, we investigate the perceived usefulness of smart lighting. Second, we assess whether smart lighting strengthens the hotel green image. Third, we examine its influence on revisit intention. And finally, we explore whether green hotel image serves as mediator between smart lighting and revisit intention. To support this objective, we develop our theoretical foundation. Our study is based on stimulus organism response or SOR theory and TAM, technology substance model. In this framework, the stimulus is the perceived usefulness of smart lighting. And the organism represent gas internal evaluation, which in this study is a green hotel image. The response is revisit intention. The theory suggests that the external stimulus influence physiological perception, which subsequently affect behavioral intention. Using this framework, we developed the following conceptual model. This model proposed four hypotheses. Hypothesis 1 suggests that perceived usefulness of smart lighting directly affect revisit intention. And hypothesis 2 proposes that smart lighting positively influences a green hotel image. And hypothesis 3 predict that green hotel image positively affect revisit intention. And finally, hypothesis 4 examine whether green hotel image mediate the relationship between smart lighting and revisit intention. Next, let me briefly explain the methodology used to test this hypothesis. This study employ a quantitative approach. Data were collected through a Google form survey. The respondents were hotel guests who had experience with smart lighting feature. Purposive sampling was applied, and data were analyzed using partial list or PLS SEM. Let us now look at the respondent profile. Most respondents were female, 57%. The largest age group was between 24 and 24 years old. Most respondents held at least a bachelor degree. In terms of smart lighting usage, many participants had experience with these technologies multiple times per year, indicating familiarity with the concept being studied. Before testing the hypothesis, we evaluated the measurement model. Okay. All constructs demonstrate satisfactory reliability and validity. We can see from the screen that all value, construct alpha and composite value, all were above 0.7, and average variance extract or AV value also meet acceptable standard more than 0.5. Therefore, the measurement model was considered reliable and suitable for hypothesis testing. After confirming a measurement model quality, we proceed to hypothesis testing. The slide present the most important finding. Yeah. Interestingly, hypothesis 1 was not supported. Perceived usefulness of smart lighting didn't directly influence revisit intention. However, hypothesis 2 was strongly supported, showing that smart lighting significantly enhanced green hotel image. Hypothesis 3 was also supported, indicating that a stronger green image increases guest willingness to revisit. Finally, for hypothesis 4, confirm a significant indirect effect through green hotel image. Let's discuss what this finding means. Okay. So this result suggests that this result suggests that guests view smart lighting primarily as an environmentally friendly innovation rather than directly influencing revisit intention. Smart lighting help build a positive perception of the hotel sustainability effort. The positive image then encourages future visitation. In other words, technology alone is not enough. Guests need to associate the technology with a meaningful environmental value. This interpretation lead to several managerial implications. Okay. For the managerial implication, hotel manager should not only invest in smart lighting system but also communicated their environmental benefit clearly. Hotels should integrate these technologies into broader sustainability strategies. Marketing message should emphasize both comfort and environmental responsibility. By doing so, hotel can strengthen their green image and encourage guest loyalty. Beyond practical implication, this study also contribute theoretically. This study, wait, okay, a theoretical contribution. This study confirmed the the application of SOR theory in hospitality technology research. It demonstrates that green hotel image act as critical psychological mechanism linking a technology perception to behavior intention. The finding enrich our understanding of how sustainable technologies influence guests beyond their functional benefit. Uh, like any study, however, there are several limitations. Okay, we move to the next slide. Okay, this study has uh, three main limitations. First, data were collected only in Jakarta
So
hotel. Yeah.
this is a gentle reminder that you have crossed the 10-minute mark. So kindly conclude your presentation in the next 2 minutes.
Sorry.
You have crossed the 10-minute mark. So kindly
Oh, yeah.
conclude your presentation in the next 2 minutes.
Okay. Can continue. Yeah.
Yes, you may
Okay.
continue.
Okay. This study has three limitations. First, only Jakarta hotel responded. Second, only smart lighting technology was examined. And third, the whole model used a limited number of variables. Therefore, this limitation provides opportunity for future research. Okay, future studies could expand the research to another cities or countries. Researchers may also investigate other green technologies such as smart energy management system. Additionally, variables such as satisfaction, trust, or perceived value could provide deeper insight. Longitudinal studies would also help examine change in guest perception over time. Finally, let me conclude the presentation. Okay. Uh, Smart lighting contribute to green hotel image, which in turn drive guest revisit intention, sustainability, perception. Not only technology itself, it's the key to winning guests. Okay, thank you.
Thank you for your presentation, sir. Do we have any
Yeah.
questions?
You have any question?
Yeah. Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Yeah. Your findings shows that the smart lighting influences revisit intention only indirectly through green hotel image. How might hotel strengthen the direct appeal of smart technology themselves so that the guests perceive perceive those smart technology not just as sustainability features, but also enhancing the comfort and overall experience of the guests?
Thank you for your question. Give me time to analyze your question. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Uh, to enhance the guest experience of the guest, hotel has to improve their service quality as well, not just investigation in the smart lighting. Service quality remain the fundamental driver or guest satisfaction and loyalty. In this case, smart lighting can strengthen sustainability position. Just strengthen sustainability position.
All right,
Okay.
thank you. So your study actually give a good insight by positioning the Green Hotel image as a full mediator, but to improve further the contribution, so you could explore additional experiential factors such as the perceived comfort, convenience, or even the aesthetic appeal that might allow the smart technology to directly influence revisit intention, because that is your objective. Expanding this beyond that, no, the sustainability lens, it would make the managerial implication more comprehensive with your approach. Thank you, sir, for sharing
Thank you for
your.
insight, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Do we have any other questions?
No questions. We can go ahead with the next one.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you so much, sir. Now I would like to move on to the next presenter.
Yeah. Hello.
Yes, sir. You may stop sharing your screen, sir.
Oh, okay. Okay. Thank you. Sorry.
It's all right.
Yeah.
Now I'd like to call upon Sir Luong Win Kwok Dan to present his paper on the title Non-Destructive Avocado Ripeness Assessment Using Microwave Sensing and Neural Networks. Do we have you here with us, sir?
Okay. Yeah, thank you. So I'm here.
Yes, sir.
So good afternoon, distinguished chairperson and attendants. So could you see my slide?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So on behalf of the author, I would like to present our work on the title of the paper is the non-destructive avocado ripeness assessment using microwave sensing and neural networks. Our study group from Cần Thơ University, Vietnam. So the content of my research including literature review, motivation, and proposed model, experimental result, and conclusion in future work. So we all know that avocado is one of the important food crops in the world because it can provide highly nutrition value for people such as unsaturated fats, vitamin, and antioxidants elements. So Vietnam is also one of the largest avocado producer in the world. As you can see that Vietnam in the top 10 countries producing avocado. So in the post-harvest process,
assessment of the ripeness, assess the ripeness of avocado is important for maintaining the fruit quality and supporting the post-harvest process. However, most of the work now, the people carried out a ripeness assessment by using hand and using most of the method based on destructive method. So for a long time, researcher has developed some kind of non-destructive method to evaluate the ripeness of the avocado. For example, a long time ago, people has proposed some method using visible and near infrared spectroscopy, and also they also use a hyperspectral imaging method to assess the quality of the fruit. For example, you can see this image show the principal method. They use light, as mean visible or infrared light, to direct the light to the fruit, and they measure, they detect the reflected light to measure the intensity of reflected light, and from that they can know the status of the fruit. So some paper has reported using this kind of method. For example, in the reference 9 and reference 10 in our papers. And another method, people measure the electrical impedance of the fruit. For example, you can see here, people can use electrical instrument to measure the impedance of the skin of the fruit. Based on that, they can evaluate, they can get the evaluation accuracy up to about 90% of the avocado ripening stage. You can see this graph show the variation of impedance magnitude according to the frequency, the change in frequencies of the signal. And recently, there was one research people showed them using the microwave imaging. That means they use microwave antenna system. A system consists of many antenna. In this case, they use 10 antennas to measure the microwave signal transmit or reflected through the fruit. From that, they can reconstruct the internal quality of the fruit. And people reported that they can obtain up to nearly 90% accuracy in classification. Yeah, but we learned that most of the method require costly equipment. That's an expensive equipment, and the measurement setup somehow quite complicated. So we think about the way to evaluate, to assess the internal quality of the fruit with low cost equipment. So we propose a method that using vector network analyzer. The cost of vector network analyzer somehow cheaper. So the principle is simple. We use this instrument to transmit the microwave signal through a rope here, and we measure the reflected wave from the incident wave and reflected wave. We can know we can obtain the measurable S11 in this equation. In this equation, GL stands for the impedance of of the avocado fruit. That means if the property of the fruit tissue change, the ZL also change. So from that principle, we can know the status of the fruit by measure the changes in S11. This is the principle of the method. So in that method, one of the key components is the probe. We design a probe based on theory that's use open-ended causal sensor. That means we use a simple type and connector. We can buy this type connector on the market, and we design it. We make it, and in the theory, the size of the probe here is the diameter of the probe is about more than 20 millimeter. So the size of the probe is important because it will define the sensitivity of the sensor and the resonance frequency also. So in our research, with this probe, we can have a resonance frequency of about 2.1 gigahertz, and at that frequency, the microwave signal can go through the fruit up to 1 centimeter. That means the penetration depth is about 1 centimeter. So we carried out experiment. We use about 100 avocado sample randomly. We bought it in the market at different time, and we use a vector signal analyzer to measure the fruit, and we store the fruit in the laboratory, and we measure the S11 parameter. That means we measure the frequency, magnitude, and phase of the S11, and the performance. The experiment will perform up to 7 days. That means we monitor the status of the fruit from the day 1 to the day 7. So this graph show the measure S11. This is the graph show the magnitude of the S11, and this is the graph show phase. And from this graph, we can see that to the time, the performance, that means the response of the fruit chain. That means for the day 1 and the day 7, the magnitude of the S11 chain. So from this measurement data, we can build the prediction model. Yeah. So for the model, we use a neural network model. A simple type of neural network model called feed-forward neural network. This is very traditional, conventional model in AI, in machine learning. So we developed this kind of model in Python and with TensorFlow and Keras. And this model has 3 inputs and 3 outputs according to the 3 stages: unrip, rip, and overrip. And the number of measurement data obtained for the 3 stages of the fruit about more than 800 sample, 824, something like that. And that means we allocated 70% data for training, 20% for validation, and remaining 10% for testing.
So
And
this
this
is
graph,
gentle reminder that you have crossed the 10-minute mark, so you may kindly conclude your presentation in the next 2 minutes.
sorry, I cannot catch your idea.
I'm saying you have crossed the 10-minute mark, so you may conclude your presentation in the next 2 minutes.
Yeah. I finished it right now. For experiment, we obtained result. That's mean the loss curve and training curve of the model. And this table show the validation result for unread and read and overread. And totally we can see that we can obtain about 87% of accuracy for the prediction. So for conclusion, we see that we already present a non-destructive method for avocado ripeness assessment using microwave signal, and we can obtain the accuracy up to 87%. And for future work, we will focus on expanding the experiment to more data sample, and we will develop a low-cost system using microwave sensor to for practical fruit quality monitoring at the site. So thank you for your attention. Yeah.
Thank you for your presentation, sir. Do we have any questions?
Hi, sir.
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I'm
Yeah,
clear.
yes, Dr. Dan. I'm hungry with your avocado.
Yeah, thank you.
With the color. Okay. Now, in terms of scientific contribution and industry relevance, so how does focusing on dielectric property change you during ripening advance the broader field of agricultural sensing beyond just improving classification of accuracy? And what challenges in real world distribution made this research particularly urgent?
Yeah, that means you would like to know the possibility that the research will be used in practice. Is it right?
Hmm.
That means one of the difficulty when we would like to deploy the instrument into the practice, because we should further reduce the cost of the system. That means as I mentioned, in the system we use a vector network analyzer. The cost of the system in laboratory, that equipment can cost about $10,000 per one instrument. But in reality, for farmer, we try to reduce we can use a more cheaper one. That means we try to use cheaper equipment. And
Okay.
about the necessary the necessary of the method, the proposed method is that we can use that method to classify the food because some avocado producer they would like to know which fruit is it ripens or not, so that they can send it to the customer at the right time.
Okay, so your study demonstrate a promising non-destructive alternative to conventional ripeness assessment. So maybe it could explore more on scalability, robustness across larger sample and multiple fruit varieties also. So it would strengthen more of the practicability of the method for post-harvest management. Thank you, sir, for sharing your research.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, sir. Do we have any other questions?
Okay, so this presentation is another work based on a student project originally conducted by Christian Vasta and was supervised by myself and my colleague Rolf Dornberger during the course on applied computational intelligence, which I mentioned earlier. So I would like to first introduce and motivate the model a bit, and I go into some more details of that. After that, I will briefly discuss the optimization procedure to obtain a solution for the model. I will present some results on the considered implementation which we used, and then I show the results and conclude afterwards. Okay, so the inventory routing problem is a very practical and complex optimization problem in logistics, which integrates routing and inventory management over time. So the idea is basically that a number of customers should be delivered from a central location or a producer of goods, and there are some degrees of freedom which amounts of goods are transported to which customer in which period, and how the respective routing tour should look like. So here for the considered IRP, we mainly look at transportation costs for the objective function, but also consider the avoidance of overfills and stock outs at the customer companies. And in addition to that, we also need to make sure that the capacity of transportation vehicles is not overused. There are many approaches to solving such problems, so mostly in the literature, meta-heuristics like tabu search or genetic algorithms are being used, but for some other methods, there is not much evidence on how well they might work on the considered type of problem. So we address that gap in the literature by further looking at the method called simulated annealing for solving the problem. So let's have a look at the problem under consideration. So it's a not too complex type of inventory routing problem. So we have one central location here denoted as a depot where goods are available, and 5 customers should be served with the goods over time, making use of one vehicle with limited capacity for doing the transportation. So basically, each customer is assumed to have some daily demand over the considered time horizon, some initial stock level, and also maximum considering storage capacity. We have also a limit concerning the capacity of the vehicle, which must be observed, and we plan then over a period of time the respective quantities which are delivered to several of the customers, usually not all, and also make sure that a good route results for that. So this is a kind of deterministic and discrete problem in that area. As constraints, we need to observe the capacity limits. So on the one hand, regarding the capacity of the warehouses at the customers, but also the capacity of the vehicle, and we want to avoid stock outs at the customer side. The considered method, as I mentioned already, is simulated annealing. That's a nature-inspired meta-heuristics approach, which considers stochastic processes from physics, in particular the cooling down of materials, which usually lead to a situation which can be considered as an energy optimum. So this cooling down process is a kind of optimization process which we find in nature, and we use that as the main idea for an algorithm which simulates that process. One important thing is considered during the process. So it's possible that temporarily during the iterations being conducted, some worse solutions are being accepted, which can help us to escape from local optima during the optimization process. So in general, we can say this cooling down process, which is governed by decreasing temperature in the algorithm, is also considering the idea that in the beginning there should be a stronger exploration of the solution space, whereas at the end it should converge to hopefully the optimal solution. Let's have a look at some implementation details. So basically, the algorithm and everything else was implemented in a Python environment, and also some other methods needed to be included. So one idea in the process of simulated annealing is that we need to have an idea of a neighborhood to explore further solutions during the runs. and these were implemented by making use of a kind of neighborhood operator, which is based on the idea of modifying an existing solution. So on the one hand, tours of a given solution can be modified by exchanging to customers during that tour, and then another changing mechanism is that we can shift a load from one day to one day earlier or to one day later concerning the time when a customer is being supplied by needed items. We also need an initial solution for starting that, which is a quite simple constructive heuristics, which prioritizes the serving of customers with a rather low income, and for the tour building, a kind of nearest neighbor tour building heuristic is being implemented. In addition, we make sure that constraints are being checked. So basically, if changing mechanisms would lead to an infeasible solutions like a stock out or a capacity violation, this is being repaired immediately. We considered some variants of the simulated annealing, basically looking at the cooling down schedule. So typically, specific cooling down schedule of the temperature is being used usually by multiplying a previous temperature by a factor smaller than 1 in order to decrease temperature over time. And for this parameter alpha, we can use different values which specify the speed of the cooling down process. So we analyzed 3 different settings for that. Let's have a look at the obtained results. So we have got these 3 setups of simulated annealing with different values for the cooling down parameter alpha. We can look at the mean distance as an optimization criterion, and also at the standard deviation during a set of 10 repetition runs in order to see the impact of stochastic influences on the algorithm. So what is interesting to see is that with the slowest cooling down schedule, so with alpha equals 0.99, we obtain the best results in terms of the tour length, but also some very stable results where we do not have any deviating solutions among the stochastic repetitions. Whereas for faster cooling down, the final results are poorer. So that means we end up in a local optimum, which is not the global one. And also the variability of results is stronger in those cases. Okay, let me come to the conclusions. So we can say that simulated annealing appears in general as a robust and effective method. So that is also based on the comparison with some other analysis of the same optimization problem in the literature by making use of taboo search, which resulted in the same solution for the best ones. And for the geometric cooling, we found the best result with a not too fast cooling down, which is usually good for escaping local optima. But here in our setup, we also see that it contributes then to finally finding the best results among the considered settings. Besides that, in general, comparisons in the literature are not so easy, as mostly all people use different types of test models. So there's not any established benchmarking suite as for the time series analysis, which I discussed earlier today. Let me finish with a few suggestions regarding future works. So in particular, it would be useful to explore more methods on the considered problem. In particular, hybrid meta-heuristics provides very good results in other test problems. So that might be an interesting extension to consider. And of course, more testing in general is needed, in particular with larger problem instances. So, for instance, longer time horizons or a larger number of customers, for instance. And of course, also generally other types of the inventory routing problem could be investigated, for instance, stochastic versions of that. So that's all. Thanks for your attention, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
I've answered. Go ahead, ma'am.
Actually, I was more concerned about the number of execution runs you have. You mentioned in the results section that you have done around 10 runs, right? So is it like that you could have done an extra number of runs, 100, 150 or more? Because load testing is the thing which could have defined better results.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I did not fully understand. Can you please repeat? The audio quality is not very good.
Am I audible now?
Yes, ma'am, you're audible.
Am I audible now?
Yeah,
Yeah.
but
Actually, I was
yeah,
asking that you did 10 number of runs, right, for the
yeah,
execution. I was like more
yeah.
interested that if you could have done more load testing, probably 50 or 100 runs, where you could have, proved the results better, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah, certainly. So that's also something what we plan for future work, that we want to make a larger number of runs, which is quite easy, of course, in order to have also better possibilities for statistical testing of the significance of results. So that is, of course, only bringing much benefit if we have a more extensive testing, for instance, comparison of different solution methods in order to find out which one is better for the considered problem.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks.
Yeah. Sir, since your research output, no, it says since the accuracy is since accuracy in simulated annealing depends heavily on careful tuning based on what you have discussed.
Yeah.
Tuning of parameters such as the cooling rate, initial temperature, and stopping criteria. How does your study contribute to identifying effective parameter setting, and what guidance can it offer the practitioners aiming for a reliable RIP solution?
Yeah, so in general, it makes sense to investigate all parameters. So for others, we also did some initial testing, which are not reported in detail in our study, but it is in general a good idea in order to find out. So here, for instance, with a high value of alpha, that's an interesting insight to see that that how this is influencing actually the variability of results and the quality, the average quality in terms of tour distance. So that is also, of course, related to the runtime. So we did a quite number of iterations for that, 5,000 iterations for simulated annealing. That is certainly not always possible for larger size problems, I assume. So when we have got a quite a larger size problem or computationally complex objective function, for instance, which often happens in combinatorial optimization, then maybe not so many iterations can be done. And then if we would, for instance, need to stop after 1,000 iteration or so, then maybe a faster schooling schedule could be necessary. So that also depends, of course, on the use case and like settings regarding available computational time.
Thank you.
Moving on to our next presenter, I would like to call Sir Febin Koshi Jacob to present his paper on the title Python and MATLAB based automated waveform pattern analysis method for ECU validation using the hardware in the loop test frame.
Good afternoon, everyone. Firstly, I would like to thank the TIBS conference team for giving us the opportunity to present our topic, Python and MATLAB-based automated waveform pattern analysis method for ECU validation using the hardware in loop test framework. The authors are myself, Pebin Koshi Jacob, Indranil Bose, Sariyadi Tavariman, and Sandhya Anil Kumar. So coming to the overview of the presentation, firstly we'll be introducing our company, Varroc Engineering, then the introduction to our project, then the methodology that we have used, then the experimental setup that we are used to verify the methodology, then the results and discussion, then the future scope, then the conclusion. About Varroc Engineering, Varroc is a leading global auto technology company with a product portfolio covering a wide range of e-mobility solutions, body system solutions, etc. to leading OEMs and aftermarket, which span over 9 countries with 130 plus patents and 7 technical centers. And we also have a technology for two-wheelers in safety, connectivity and digitalization, personalization, electrification and efficiency and sustainability, and also in four-wheelers in safety, personalization and connectivity and digitalization. So as we know in the four-wheelers, the modern automotive systems are becoming increasingly complex due to the electrification, in which the ECUs plays a vital role in controlling the vehicle functions, and therefore which requires a rigorous validation before the deployment. In this case, the hardware in loop testing has emerged as an effective solution for validating the ECUs, in which we can validate the ECU in a safe, repeatable, and controllable laboratory environment. Even with the adoption of field testing, most existing validation framework, which only focuses on functional verification rather than the quantitative waveform level analysis, like the time-dependent automotive functions such as sequential patterns, PWM controlled outputs, and timing critical ECU operations, which require accurate waveform comparison technique for reliable validation. To address these challenges, we have proposed an automated hill validation framework, which integrates the MATLAB simulating model along with the DSpace RTA system and the Python-based automation, which we have shown in figure 1. So with this proposed approach, we have improves the validation accuracy, reduces manual effort, and enhances repeatability and accelerates ECU development and testing cycles. So proposed automation framework workflow is shown in figure 2. Initially, we will be creating the simulation model. Then in MATLAB environment, then the offline model validation will be done. Then the real-time model validation in configuration desk will be done, and the STF file will be created. And that STF file will be imported to the control desk of our DSpace, in which we will create the GUI for manual testing and create the Python scripts for automated test, which validates the DUT against this specification. As we can see in the figure 3, we have 3 different layers. Initially, it will be the simulation layer, which contains a MATLAB model, which communicates with the RTA system, with the processor board, input-output board, CAN board, and the DSpace configuration desk, input-output configuration desk. And that the RTA system will be connected to the DUT and also will be connected to the automation and control layer, which have the control desk GUI and also the Python script, which helps in generating the test report and the test logs.
Should we back into the schedule?
So coming to the model-based design, we have 4 different steps. Initially, it will be the database creation, then the data acquisition, then the design algorithm, and then the data transfer. So initially, the database creation, we will be taking the golden sample, which will be the customer for DUT, and then the analog signal will be taken and logged into the DSpace RTA, and that will be imported to the MATLAB Simulink for creating the golden waveform. Then the data acquisition. So in this, the DSpace will take the analog signal from the DUT with the RC filter for analog signals and with a sampling frequency of 10 kilohertz. And the design algorithm, we have taken the analog and digital signals and we will calculate the parameters such as RMSE, timing deviation, channel comparison, maximum and minimum voltages, on and off time average, and static conditions in the design algorithm. Then these calculated parameters will be transferred to the Python script for test automation and report generation. So as we discussed in the previous slide, in the design algorithm, the parameters that consider firstly the RMSE percentage, which evaluates the waveform similarity and detects the amplitude mismatches. Then the timing deviation, which identifies the delays and synchronization errors in ECU outputs. Then the channel-wise comparison, which detects the specific faults and sequence mismatches. Then the PWM analysis, which validates the PWM control loads and output behavior. Then the static control validation, verifies the stable operation under static conditions. So to validate our methodology, we have used the user ECO tail lamp responsible, which is responsible for automatic lighting control functions, in which in figure 5, we can see the DUT is connected to the BCM, which is a body control module, in which the DSpace acts as a simulated BCM, and it is communicating with the PC in the automation layer and the model-based layer. With this automation layer, we will be able to generate the test report and test logs. So for the tail lamp validation, we have implemented a test scenario in which involved a sequential activation of multiple lamp channels. Here the lamp channel in this discussion is two LEDs we are considering as a single channel, which emulates a left to right indicator animation pattern with a predefined on and off timing interval and a repeater cycle sequence. In figure 6, we can see the MATLAB model in which the controller's GUI and the configuration desk is controller's GUI. We can see the parameters that we have used. Initially, we have used the maximum voltage, animation delay, RMSE, and then the maximum voltage and the off time and on time, then the string delay, the channel supply delay, and some of the hardware indicators like stop and fork we have considered, and entire execution pass and fail, and all the total test cases that are running that we can see in real time here. So coming to the pattern validation, in this figure 8 and 9, we have compared the animation pattern, which the green signal shows the reference waveform and the red signal shows the actual waveform. In figure 8, it shows a pass criteria in which we can see the RMSE is less than 8%, which is a pass criteria for us. And in figure 9, we can see the defect in this case, the RMSE is much greater than 75%. So coming to the results and discussion. So we have successfully evaluated the waveform mismatches, timing shift, sequence errors, and channel delay variation. And we can see in figure 10 the generation test report in which the expected result and actual result we have compared, and the verdict is we are shown in this column. And this system has maintained a real-time execution and waveform acquisition duration up to 16 seconds per validation cycle, and also achieved a decrease in execution time of 41.2% and also approximately 45.8% automation. We have also calculated the F1 score after 8 iterations, in which we are in table 2, we can see the parameters like precision, accuracy, recall, and F1 score, in which we have achieved a F1 score of 0.870. This high F1 score indicates a balanced precision and recall performance, which validates the consistency and robustness of the proposed automated hill framework. So the future scope of our project can focus on improving the diagnostic capability, scalability, and integration with the advanced automotive validation environment, along with the integration of AI and ML technique. And also, we can also integrate the cloud-based and distributed validation environment, which can enable remote execution, centralized data management, and collaborative validation across multiple development teams. So with this, I would like to conclude this paper. We have presented an automated hardware in loop testing framework for validating the ECUs, which mainly focuses on reference-driven validation methodology with a predefined golden reference waveform for quantitative metrics validation. And this proposed framework also integrates the MATLAB simulating model, the DSpace RTA system, and the Python-based automation. For validating this methodology, we have used a tail lamp animation validation use case where waveform mismatches, timing deviation, and sequence inconsistencies we have successfully identified. With this developed framework, we achieved 45.8% automation along with a reducing time of 41.2%, which demonstrates the testing efficiency, reduced manual effort, and enhanced validation repeatability. Overall, the proposed framework provides a scalable and industrially applicable solution for the next generation automotive and EV ECU validation. And these are the references that we have used. With this, I would like to conclude my presentation. If there are any questions, feel free to.
Thank you, sir. Do we have any questions?
On my side, I don't have any question. What I can say only is it give a strong contribution to the automotive industry in the future.
Thank you, ma'am. Do we have any other questions? Now I would like to call upon Sir Kino Vicencio to present his paper on the title, The Contribution of On-the-Job Training to the Development of Collaborative Skills in Student Interns, Implications for Workforce Transformation. Do we have you here with us, sir? We'll be moving forward with the session. Well, this brings us to the end of the session. I sincerely thank all the authors for their excellent presentations and contribution in this session, and all the participants for being a part of this international conference. I hope this session was informative enough. We, on behalf of the whole team, thank you for supporting the virtual conference. We'll be happy to have you in the next version in 2027. All the presenters would be getting their digital certificates through email within 2 working days. The publication will be live within 7 to 8 months. So I request you all to kindly cooperate with the team of TIBS 2026. I also thank both our session chairs for chairing the session. I would like to present a token of appreciation to both the chairs on behalf of the team TIBS 2026 and Global Knowledge Research Foundation and partners, and also request them to share their feedback and remarks with the participants.
Innovation across AI, governance, sustainability, logistics, systems, automotive, and even the human development really shows the true progress lies in balancing technical rigor with practical human-centered impact. So these studies that were presented remind us that smart systems must also be adaptable, transparent, and scalable to create a lasting value. So we extend our sincere gratitude to TIBS organizer to be part of this conference and also providing us the platform to share, learn, and collaborate all over the globe toward shaping the futures of technological intelligence and business strategies. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone. I think you are muted.
Sorry. I was just saying that Sir Kio with our Sensi just messaged in the group chat that he is having some network problem and he wants to present.
When I appeal to have representation, I got a problem in internet,
Yes,
but now
sir.
it's
All right.
okay.
No problems.
Okay, thank you. Good day, everyone. I am Keno Villavicencio from City College of Dasmariñas. Together with me, the researchers from the National University, Philippines, and Cavite State University, Tres Martinez City campus. Let me present to you the contribution of on-the-job training to the development of collaborative skills in student interns, implication for workforce transformation. In today's rapidly changing workplace, employers seek graduate who passes not only technical knowledge, but also strong communication, teamwork, and adaptability skills. Several studies have shown that academic learning alone is insufficient to prepare students for modern employment demands. Nguyen and Nguyen emphasize that the OJT significantly contributes to the student personal and professional development. Likewise, Singh and Nigam explained that internship serves as bridge between academic learning and professional practice. Musa and colleagues further found that internship experience improved communication, adaptability, and collaboration skills. Moreover, Moreover, Obodozi and Wambufo highlighted that collaborations become key factors in workplace productivity and organizational success. This study examines how on-the-job training contributes to development of collaborative skills among student interns and prepare them for the future employment. This study aims to answer these research questions. How well do student interns demonstrate collaborative skills? To what extent are they exposed to collaborative activities? How effective are teamwork and communication practices in their workplaces? How much does OJT contributes to the improved collaborative skills? And how prepared are interns for future collaborative work after OJT? These questions guided the entire investigation. Research design. This study deployed a quantitative descriptive survey design. The responses consisted of 150 student interns from various academic programs in the higher institution in the city capital of the Philippines, the city of Manila. A structured questionnaire was utilized to measure teamwork, communication, interpersonal relationship, and workplace readiness using a Likert scale. The data were analyzed using descriptive statistics, specifically frequency, percentage, and weighted means. For the demographic profile, most respondents belong to 18 years old to 20 years old group, comprising 61.3% of the participants. These findings is expected because the OJT participants are generally students in their early academic and professional stages. Only a small percentage belong to old age group. For the sex distribution, regarding the sex distribution, 53.3% of the respondents were female and 45.3% were male. The relative balance distributions allow the study to capture diverse perspective regarding the OJT experiences and collaborative skills development. The respondents came from different academic programs. Business administrations had the highest representation of 23.3%, followed by information technology at 20% and hospitality management at 18.7%. This diversity allows the findings to reflect collaborative skills development across multiple disciplines. Most students interns complete their OJT in companies, accounting to 56.7% of respondents. Government agency represent 26.7%, while NGO and other organizations comprise the remaining participants. This workplace settings provide students with opportunity to engage teamwork, communication, and workplace organization. Half of the respondents underwent OJT for 4 to 6 months. This duration allows students to sufficient time to immerse themselves in workplace activities, interact with colleagues, and adopt professionally environment. The findings suggest that the longer the exposure contributes to the development of collaborative skills. The overall mean of the collaborative skills was 3.34, interpreted as strongly agree. Responded reported that they were able to work effectively with others, communicate confidently, actively listen, respect diverse perspective, and contribute ideas during a group discussion. These findings indicate that the interns possess strong teamwork, communication, and interpersonal skills. For exposure to collaborative activities, the overall means for this was 3.32, also interpreted as strongly agree. Students frequently participated in teamwork activities, meetings, collaborative discussion, and interaction with such exposure contributes to the development of the collaborative activities. For teamwork effectiveness and communication skills, the overall mean is 3.33 with verbal interpretation of strongly agree. The respondents believe that their teams function effectively, communication was clear and organized, and they felt comfortably expressing their ideas. This suggests that workplace communication and teamwork were positively experienced by the OJT. For effectiveness of OJT, the overall means is 3.37. Students agree that the OJT improved their ability to work in teams, communicate effectively, develop interpersonal skills, and collaborate with others. These findings emphasize that the importance of experiential learning in preparing students for employment. Preparedness for workforce is 3.39 and also interpreted as strongly agree. The respondents felt prepared to work in teams, communicate professionally, adapt workplace environment, and collaboratively effective. This demonstrate that the OJT contributes significantly to the workforce readiness. And for the discussion, the findings suggest that OJT provides meaningful opportunities for students to develop real-world skills. Through teamwork, interactions with colleagues, and workplace experiences, interns learn how to communicate effectively, share ideas, and work toward common goals. Additionally, actual workplace exposure helps students build confidence, adaptability, and professional readiness. In conclusion, on-the-job training plays crucial role in developing collaborative skills among interns. OJT enables students to move beyond classroom theories and gain practical experience in teamwork, communication, and interpersonal interaction. Supportive workplace environment significantly enhance learning to help interns develop confidence, responsibility, and adaptability. Ultimately, OJT serves as important bridge between academic learning and professional workplace. For recommendation for school, strengthen OJT partnership, provide pre-deployment training on communication and teamwork. For employers, assign interns to collaborative projects, provide proper supervision and mentoring. For students, be proactive, participate actively and remain open for feedbacks.
Thank you for your presentation, sir. Do you have any questions?
Thank you.
Kabayan.
Hello, ma'am.
Hello, Kabayan, Kasiti. Okay. So I was looking for your presentation because I have one research related to that, which is mapping the OJT-driven skills gain to future job role. Okay, so your framework demonstrates significant what you call that automation. You know, I'm sorry, in terms of strengthening the OJT teamwork, communications, and adaptability among interns. How might you, as part of the institution or the institutions and the employers, design the OJT programs to ensure these collaborative gains are sustained beyond the internship period, translating into a long-term employability skills?
Yeah. In order for us to establish more collaborative and teamwork between the schools and the partner institution, before the deployment of the students, there will be a communication discussion and under discussion between higher institution and the host institution. So it is important for us to prepare our student through framework by giving them pre-deployment training that is needed by the company, by the demand of the company where the student will be deployed. And also, the company also have the idea of what we do in our interns before they are being deployed to their companies.
Right. So I hope I can use your research paper with my research paper. So this is a platform of collaboration. Overall comment, the study clearly highlights that OJT is as a bridge between academic learning and a workplace practice. Maybe to improve more of your research, it could examine the longitudinal outcomes for example, whether the interns continue to demonstrate enhanced teamwork and adaptability after graduation or in subsequent employment. Okay, so adding this perspective would strengthen the argument that OJT really not builds immediate skills, but also support lasting professional growth, because that is my objective with my research. Thank you, Kabayan.
Thank you.
Thank you for your presentation, sir. So just before we end the session, I request you all to kindly switch on the camera for a quick snapshot of the virtual conference. All right, I will be clicking the photo in 3, 2, 1. All right. Thank you so much everyone for joining today. Hope you have a great day.